Weird. Okay. My brain!
Well, well, look who finally dragged themselves in out of the wasteland.
What the
And
fuck?
where have we been? Crawling through pits of radioactive muck again?
Are you my brain?
Ah, lovely. Figured that out, have we? Would you like a cookie?
Why are you such a dick?
Well, that's a fine how do you do. Me, quote, dick, unquote. As if I'm the one responsible for the way you carry on gadding about the wastes. I'm not the one that makes us clamber around Technus-infested ancient vaults or go charging off to New Vegas on missions of ill-conceived revenge. And have we forgotten who got us shot in the head and buried in a shallow grave? Do you think I enjoyed that little moment?
Of course you're responsible. You're my brain.
I most certainly am not. I'm the seat of all reason and logic in our little partnership. All those feelings that motivate you, do you know where those come from? Glands. They come from glands. Free of the tyranny of your ape-like and primitive endocrine system, I can see how foolish your motives are.
But you're the source of most of those glands, unless you're arguing that my thyroid is to blame.
Well, look, it's all a very complex system of biofeedback and other things I wouldn't expect you to understand.
Admit it, you're just as glandular as I am.
Oh, all right. Perhaps I am, but at least I'm logical about it.
Don't you want to be reunited? I thought you'd be happy to get back into my head.
I'm not going to lie to you. The prospect is definitely not that appealing. Look at it from my perspective. Here I have peace, quiet, and safety. Well, barring the odd rogue scorpion. In your head, I've got poison, radiation, grisly injuries, and biological functions. Do you know how much more you can get done when you're not constantly looking for places to urinate? It's quite a lot, I can tell you.
What about the good things? What about the cool breeze in your cheek, the smell of food, love?
Overrated biological feedback. Believe me, you only feel that way because you've got all that meat. Oozing hormones.
Isn't it just as true that you only feel this way because you're lacking those hormones?
I suppose you're right. That does call certain assumptions into question, doesn't it?
So, we're at an impasse. You can't feel what I feel, and I can't think the way you think.
Indeed. Quite the conundrum. How do you suppose we resolve it?
I think we have to trust each other and acknowledge that we aren't complete if we're
I
separated.
suppose there might be some advantage to that, yes. There's a chance that the reintegration would create some improved synergy between us.
So what do you say, Brain? Join me for some more wild adventures?
Well, I suppose you've convinced me well enough. I'll rejoin your body if that's your final decision. Unfortunately, before we get to that stage of the proceedings, we have a problem. Even if I could settle myself back in your skull and reconnect all those pesky nerve endings, Dr. Mobius doesn't have the tools here. We would have to make use of Dr. Klein's lab, and I rather doubt the brains are inclined to share.
Why? They promised to put us back together once I did what they wanted.
And you believe them? Really? I know you were recently deprived of my fabulous advice, but... Really? Once I'm delivered into their clutches, they'll find a way past the radar fence and the whole Mojave will be their playground. And that is assuming, of course, that one of them doesn't take a fancy to our body and decide to slip his own brain into it instead.
You're part of me. I know you don't want to let that happen any more than I do.
Well, I suppose I do miss those endorphin rushes when we save the day. All right, what's the plan?
If the think tank won't hold up their bargain, we'll make them.
Right. Look out, think tank. This brain is coming out of its jar. I suppose now that we're reunited, you'll want to fill your torso up with those other meaty parts the think tank took from us. Personally, I think your upgrades are quite a bit better. But now that I'm with you, the Sync's autodock can plug them back in no problem. Right then, off we go. Klein will be in for a nasty shock when he realizes the pacification field won't work on a mind and body reunited.
Ha! Alright, my brain! Let's roll. So it's up to me if I want to get all my stuff back or if I want to keep my implants. I'm not sure, man. I mean, I don't know what they really do. Kobe! Ah! Oh.
You're my best friend forever.
Of course. Gotta go up the long way. Oh, you know what? I probably could have went out that way and turned it off. Or done something here. So I could have disabled it, but it's destroyed. No one can use it. That's enough for me. Advanced rad suit. I don't really need it. Let's just leave. And yes, I know I can go to whatchamacallit. I don't know if I'm going to bother with it. You know what I mean? It just seems like a bunch of mindless backtracking. Because I'll never use the stuff. So I think I might just head back to the... or at least go to the sink and kind of debate stuff. Alright, let's take a look, shall we? Oh, I'm a save. True mortal. See, like, I could do that, but I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna try out that schematic for the pulse gun or whatever, because it was further along, so it might actually be a little bit better than the one I'm using. Let's check it out. Jukebox friend over here.
What's the haps?
It could be the same, just, well, let's find out. I'm guessing it's the best one. Yes, it is. It's got the most damage, and it's got a critical strike explosion. So yeah, we're definitely using that one. I figured as much. So, I don't... Let's go in here. You know, okay, I'm gonna save first. I don't know if it's gonna be any different.
You require some additional...
Okay, let's see. What would it be? The swap body parts. What will it do? Cardiac arrest. Your heart is back in your body, but some advanced technologies remain. Oh, you're less resistant to poison, 50%, and robots are only somewhat confused by you. 25% likely to score a critical hit now. But on the bright side, healing items are twice as effective. So I take a little bit less. Like I was more resistant to poison before, and they were more robots aren't fully confused. But look at the healing items are that much better, and that's huge for me. So perfect. I will take that. That's a compromise. So I'm gonna save that again, and we'll take a look and see if, because we did the heart, right? So now we have a spine. Let's see what happens when we put the spine in. Oh, I can switch it back if I want. So I can choose, but let's see. Spineless perk. Okay, reinforced spine perk. Your spine is back in your body, but some technologies remain. Your torso can now be crippled again. Oh, that was one of the benefits. So my torso couldn't be crippled, but my torso never gets crippled. Your strength and damage bonuses have doubled. Okay, well, that's even better anyway. They say they're not, or the brain said that it's not, but I disagree. So, all that's left to do is confront the think tank, I think, and then we are good to go, and maybe we can get the fuck out of here. I'd rather have I would, like, to be honest, however old our character is, I'm pretty sure I'd want all my original body parts installed anyway. Dr. Klein awaits. Make sure you're prepared to finish this once and for all. Oh, I am prepared. I'm gonna use this Rad Scorpion bonus to fuck them up. Look at them, they're all ready for me.
The lobotomite returns. Our lobotomite.
It's all red
Dr.
and shit.
Moby's been denominated into scrap metal and voice module parts, as we hoped.
I found my brain. Now you and I are gonna settle things.
I recommend watching your tone with me, lobotomite. Now, your brain. Hand it over, or we'll extract it again.
You know what? We may be able to mind fuck this guy. Let's see. I'm not handing it over. There's some things we should discuss.
And what could we possibly have to speak about? You have the brain, we have the technology. All you must do is surrender. With it, we can finally leave this place. I cannot tell you how boring this place gets, chopping up the landscape and everything in it. And we have so many questions to ask your brain first. About this Mojave place. A fertile testing ground for our experiments.
Lie. Look at this lie. It would work. Let's do it. You think I am the lobotomite? No, for my skull house is the brain of Mobius.
That is the most insane thing I've ever heard. There's no way Mobius would condescend to step inside you. Besides, there's no way such a thing could be accomplished. It's impossible.
Look at the Science 100. Oh my god. I gotta do this one. Nothing is impossible for science. Mesons, lasers, atoms, brainwaves, all are at my command.
You speak the truth. And the decibel variation in your voice. It is Mobius. How
You're just that
dare
stupid.
you breach the think tank? And what do you want here?
I think this is where they're gonna fuck up. I offer a deal. Stay here, stay put, and I'll let you live.
That's no deal at all. There's a whole world beyond the crater, filled with ideas and possibilities. We could have escaped, seen it all for ourselves, tested it, prodded at it, made it squirm.
This is fucking awesome. I will permit you to do this. For me!
Partner with you? My foe? My rival? My foremost critic? I have a strange sensation that I would like that. How odd. Very well, partner. The think tank is at your service as long as you do not destroy us.
God, these guys are so easy to mold, man. I guess that's it. Now we gotta get the hell out of this bitch. The hell? Hold on a second. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm assuming. Yeah, it's just either or, whichever way you want to go. You just got to get out of the think tank somehow, some way.
As it
we're
had
doing
been
that.
in the years before the Great War, Big Mountain, the Big Empty, became home to one of the brightest minds of the 23rd century. The Courier watched over the Big Empty for years to come, caring for it, and keeping its discovery safe until they were needed to help others. Which had always been Big Mountain's purpose. Past the laboratories and science, it had always been intended as a place to build the future of all mankind.
The Courier had scoured much of the Big Empty, although secrets still remained in the crater's depths. Perhaps that was for the best, however. Curiosity, while sometimes rewarded for its efforts, often proves to be equally dangerous.
Dr. Mobius continued his research undisturbed in the Forbidden Zone. As much as he had attempted to create better scorpions, he tried the same with humanity, with considerably less success. These failures didn't bother him overmuch. Once the rush of mentats wore off, he forgot he had failed in any event. After all, the bright young mind who had come to visit him in the Forbidden Zone had already exceeded his expectations.
The sink atop the dome bustled with the voices of a small town, constantly chirping, arguing, and snarling at each other. Still, this all happened productively in the interests of its new owner. The Sync Central Intelligence Unit discovered, despite its inversion code, it was comforted by the sense of community the other personalities gave it.
The Biological Research Station, obsessed with seeding everything in sight, requested a transfer to the X-22 Botanical Garden.
Oh, that's,
so that it might, in its own words, sensually fertilize the garden's smooth contours. The garden sent back a polite refusal, saying it had prior commitments with a vault it had helped infect before the war.
Right.
The book chute continued
That was like Vault
to
22
devour
or something.
all
Can't
seditious
remember.
materials until it nearly choked on a paperclip. It adamantly maintained it was a Chinese paperclip, and the whole thing had been an elaborately orchestrated assassination attempt.
Of course it was.
Whatever the reason, it slowed down for a while, carefully appraising each document and clipboard that came to it.
The light switches continued to bicker and flicker.
This persisted until the day someone dropped a flashlight in the sink, and the two of them united in their hatred of the showboat.
The sink continued to ruthlessly scrub any particulate matter that came near it. Eventually, it gained access to the magnetohydraulics plant and nearly flooded all the Big Empty in an attempt to scrub the crater clean.
The toaster continued its psychotic spree, reducing all appliances in range to scrap electronics and spare parts. After one of its more psychotic episodes, however, the other Sync personalities decided enough was enough and dumped the toaster in a bathtub. Sparking and hissing, the toaster swore its enemies would rue the day when they had bread and no way to toast it.
Muggy did his best to collect coffee cups, although in his quest, he accidentally trapped himself in Higgs Village. It might have been the end for poor Muggy. Except, he found it peaceful there, tidying up the kitchens of the think tank professors back when they had been flesh and bone. Well, except for Dr. O, who was an asshole for having created Muggy in the first place. Muggy left O's house deliberately dirty, punishing the dishes and cups that lived there in blind revenge for serving.
Even though O probably didn't give a shit.
Blind old Jefferson, with sounds the Courier brought him, created a symphonic counter-frequency that saved Big Mountain from sonic invasion in 2910. If you didn't hear about it, good. It was rumored by the other personalities that he had a brief fling with the light switches. Although he forgot their names much too often and was soon left in the dark as punishment.
Oh.
Autodoc, always gentle and methodical, kept sewing up the Courier in all the right places when the skin split open from repeated wear and tear. The Autodoc was just glad to have purpose again. It heard its simpler brothers and sisters who got shipped to the Sierra Madre were bored out of their skulls in that toxic, dead city. In time, the Autodoc found a way to deactivate the Y-17 trauma harnesses, releasing the corpses they had held prisoner for almost 200 years.
As the Courier ran through the X-8 facility multiple times, the computers analyzed the test subject's movements. Rather than performing a superficial observation, they realized the subject barely knew what communism was, or even what a high school was.
No kidding.
This confused them for a time, until the facility finally realized that its research had succeeded. So it let its cyber dogs out into the wastes to help protect small communities from physical aggression rather than communist propaganda.
The infiltration program in X-13 felt spent, having repeatedly upgraded the stealth suit until it could upgrade it no more. It felt warm, fulfilled, and a bit sluggish. It realized not long after, the stealth suit had left it, without so much as a note on the nightstand. So the infiltration program sent out robo-brains into the wastes, looking for its wayward technology. It eventually found Repcon HQ and set up a new research center, testing and murdering fiends who kept breaking into the facility.
The Courier, organs intact, continued onwards, a little less heavy of step, but with all the organs in the right places, as they should be. After all, brains can develop a life of their own when left to their own thoughts, and the Courier's brain was more clever than most.
Dr. Klein and the think tank remained alive, unaware of the world outside. They looped through their daily routine, none the wiser about the world beyond, although perhaps wiser was the wrong word. The world outside belonged to the Courier, and if anyone would shape it, well, the Courier had already called dibs.
There is an expression in the wasteland, old world blues.
It refers to those so obsessed with the past they can't see the present, much less the future, for what it is.
They stare into the what was, eyes like pilot lights, guttering and spent, as the realities of their world continue on around them.
Science is a long, steady progression into the future. What may seem a sudden event often isn't felt for years, even centuries to come.
In the times following the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, however, old world blues took on a new meaning.
Where once it was viewed as a form of sadness, nostalgia, it became an expression describing the potential for the future.
It can be easy to see science as evil, technology unchecked as the source of all ills, all misfortunes.
With the Courier at the helm, science became a beacon for the future. There was old world blues, and new world hope. And hope ruled the day at Big Mountain.
We could say more, but the stories in the Big Empty speak for themselves. Now armed with the transportal Ponder, the Courier could return to the dome at any time and crack open the secrets of the Big Empty one by one. The Sink sat vigilant, waiting for its master to return, shoes covered in Mojave dust. Only one road yet remained, and it was one the Courier had to walk alone.
That was a pretty long outro, wouldn't you say? It covered literally every detail, and it was probably the funniest one yet. Especially the toaster and Muggsy. Or Muggy, I guess it would be. That was hilarious, man. Alright. Big brain perk. Oh, it's the same stuff. Big Mountain Transportal Ponder. It's capable of transporting you and you alone between the Mojave Wasteland and Big Empty. Go back to MT from the Mojave. Equip the teletransponders. You ain't to pull the trigger. Okay. So. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. I'm sure I could go back to the doctor if I wanted to and switch my brain and everything out if I really did want to, but let's get the hell out of here and wrap this DLC up. This is funny, man. that was a good DLC. And I like how you can return to it from wherever. You know what I mean? You equip this weapon thing, and you just pull the trigger, and it transports you back there. The best fast travel out of all of them. Okay. Let's just see if we can find it. Oh, a layer. I'm gonna upgrade it or repair it. Get it over with. There we go. Before we go back, lighten the load a little bit. Oh, it's already equipped. Okay. Here we go! Just like that, with the power of magic, we arrive back where we need to be. Okay, here we go. Right on. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to save real quick. New, fresh save. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this DLC, Old World Blues. We have one more main DLC to cover, and that is Lonesome Road, so we'll be picking up with that. If you enjoyed this series, be sure to let me know down in the comments and hit that like button. And I hope to see you guys in the next video where we start up Lonesome Road. We'll see you guys there.